Well, hello, welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and we're back at this time on episode 21, a special on Saturday. You know, this is mostly it's confirmed on weekdays. Last weekend, I was not feeling quite well, but I want to do this show like every day, no matter what. You know that on weekends it's gonna be maybe a bit more flexible, a bit later in the day. I love slow mornings, by the way, something that I really like. I think it's part of my lifestyle. But as the day progresses, and with so much going on, with so much insanity going on, I just want to go here, turn on the camera, and, well, have a good time with you. Because, you know, I enjoy this as much as you. And that is the idea behind this show. Let me see, where is this? A couple of things before we get started. There's an option here that I wanted to test on YouTube. We are live right now through YouTube on the Jesus Enrique Rosas channel, on X, on Kinesics, and on Rumble on the Jesus Enrique Rosas channel as well. But on YouTube, I'm testing Q&A. You can send questions. I just opened this. I have never used that, by the way. You can send any questions, and maybe I can answer them throughout the show. So we advance. We have a lot of things. Morons special. We're gonna be talking mostly about morons today, and maybe other topics are going to be a bit heavy, but I will try to make them as light as possible. You know, that is the idea. The idea is to have a good time. This is the idea. Some of you are cooking right now. Make sure that you are careful. I like to cook as well. Sometimes something that has to be done. Sometimes we enjoy it, but it's nice to have a good show. Let's get started. Let's get started with this. Something that I find a bit baffling. Let me fix my screen because it's all over the place. What a mess. This is not the way to start a show. This is not the way to start a show, but here we are. See? Everything is nice. All right. It should be... let's see. Why is this looking like this? I don't know. Okay. Now it's nice. Don Lemon. Remember Don Lemon? So many people leaving X. They are saying, "Oh, okay, we are out there. I don't want to be on X anymore. I don't want to. This is so much toxicity. So much toxicity on X." I understand. It can be a bit hard. I've told you many times that it's not for the faint of heart. Stephen King, by the way, left X, and he just left some kind of farewell. I'm going to go for just look for him. I'm going to look for him in the in the background. I just want to make fun of him. By the way, before we go on Don Lemon, Stephen King deleted all his Twitter account, all his X account, and he only left, "I'm leaving Twitter. Try to stay, but the atmosphere has just become too toxic. Follow me on Threads if you like." No, we are not going to follow you on Threads. You know that you can just post or tweet on X and limit who can reply. If you don't like the people that replies to your posts, well, you just limit them. The people that you mention, or the people that are verified, or people that you follow. There's so many options. You can just be tweeting and essentially control and limit who replies to you. But I think that some people have just don't have the skin that it is required. And Don Lemon was one of them. And it seems that, I don't know if this was before he left. But he said, Don Lemon said that Michelle Obama is much better looking than Melania Trump. What do you think? Well, you know that the Miss Universe was trending as well. on X, by the way. Yeah, we could talk about beauty, but only female beauty in this case, which can be maybe. I want to start the show in a light-hearted manner. I don't want to, go into very deep philosophical views, but that beauty is a real thing. But Juanita Broderick has a point. Don Lemon likes men, so there's that. Maybe that is part of the bias that Don Lemon has with this topic. And I'm going to be a bit all over the place tonight. And this is breaking. Donald Trump is going to UFC tonight at Madison Square Garden in New York. This is tonight. This is going to be brutal. We are going to be, I don't know if we are going to be able to watch the actual footage, maybe tomorrow, most probably, because it's going to be later tonight. But this is going to be just awesome. But we are going to talk about morons today. And you know that the Russia-Ukraine war is a contentious topic for many reasons, but sometimes you begin to see the signals, and the signals do not add up. Like in this case, we have Ukraine President Zelenskyy laughs at the idea of Trump bringing Russia and Ukraine to the table to negotiate peace. He says Ukraine is independent and should be treated as such. My question is, just to be clear about this, if he says that Ukraine is independent and should be treated as such, then why the pressure to join NATO and to, essentially have, I think it was Japan who just sent $3 more billion to Ukraine it would be nice if they really have a sit down and negotiate, do something about that. Not only, and this is not only about the money, but at the amount of Ukrainian men who have gone and have died there. Essentially, a whole generation of young men has been wiped out because of this war. But let's listen to his actual words, just in case.
Перше, сильна Україна. Вона повинна бути сильною для будь-якої дипломатії. Хочу ще раз це підкреслити.
Okay, there has to come from Ukraine has to come from a strong position for any diplomacy. That is true. Any country wants leverage. In any negotiation, you want leverage. What are you going to, apply pressure on to the other party with?
США не лише потенційний посередник в переговорах, це країна, яка надає величезні обсяги допомоги Україні і яка може спонукати нас до того, щоб ми сіли за стіл.
Yeah, it's like the United States is the one who is going to, I wouldn't say that pressure, but I would say that, let me suggest that this cannot go longer. This it cannot go much longer. And to be fair, a good thing, we could say that in terms of interest, is that, Russia's economy is not that good, so maybe there's something into it for Putin to stop in the war. So maybe they can get something, they can both get something out of that.
Який меседж ви отримали від Дональда Трампа під час тих контактів, які у вас з ним були? Тобто як він каже? Він каже, я стану президентом і сідай.
That's where that he made that, facial expression. I don't understand Ukrainian, but I could guess that I'm not going to make a wild guess, but I did not like that face. Let me see what.
Як він каже? Він каже, я стану президентом і сідайте за стіл переговорів. Як це виглядає?
Я думаю, що він так не каже.
No, I think he does not say that. He doesn't say that. He doesn't mean that. I will become president. That's what Trump said. And you remember that meeting with Trump? I analyzed that meeting with a body language perspective. And I think they went along. They got along well. I don't know what he is having this kind of attitude, I would say.
Як він каже? Він каже, я стану президентом і сідайте за стіл переговорів. Як це виглядає?
Я думаю, що він так не каже. Ми незалежна Україна, і мені здається.
We are an independent Ukraine, and it seems to me that during this war, I'm going to read this. I'm going to just read along because I know that some of you. I don't know if Veronica Olson is around here, so she can help us. Veronica, are you around? Veronica Olson is sometimes around. She knows she's Ukrainian, so she could help. But right now, I'm just gonna read what he says. We're an independent Ukraine, and it seems to me that during this war, our people and I personally, in negotiations with the United States, with Trump, Biden, don't mention Biden. That is not gonna cut it. There has been the only negotiations with Biden is how much money were you requesting, how much money were you requesting, and other European leaders have proven that with us, the rhetoric of sit and listen is not working. Well, I'm not gonna, I would say that from a body language perspective, he is also looking down. I don't see him as comfortable. You remember that? It seems that Putin, that Tucker Carlson interview, he had some kind of plan, some kind of proposal, but maybe things, a lot of things have changed since then. Maybe many people did not believe that Donald Trump could become president, but now that things have changed, maybe the scenario can be different. Sit and listen is not working. And he also says that, and this is not because we are like that, but because this is how we should treat any country. Yeah, but if you treat any country as independent, then any people, any leader to respect. This is equality, but this has not been equality because you have received an astonishing amount of, I wouldn't say money, but of assistance in terms of weapons and a lot of things, but has been tens of billions of dollars. Tens of billions of dollars. And you know that the warmongers are getting their pockets full with this. And meanwhile, in the United States, see this from Geiger Capital. The IRS is warning Americans that starting in 2025, they must report payments on Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle of over $600. $600. You send more than $600 or receive more than $600, and you will have to report them to the IRS. Meanwhile, the Pentagon just failed its 7th audit in a row as they were unable to account for 60% of the $4.1 trillion in assets, 824 billion annual budget. This is just amazing. This new 600 rule is for any side gigs, part-time work, or goods services. So no matter if you design a logo for somebody, you charge a 601, you will have to report that to the IRS no matter what. In the past, that form was only invoked once you crossed 20,000 of income plus 200 transactions. The threshold is now just $600. Simply put, the IRS is going after this and squeezing normal Americans. And where does that money go? There's one thing that I just I prepared this. I was doing this show really quickly. Was really impromptu today, but I've got a video that is not about Dodge, but it's about Rand Paul. And Rand Paul was trying to make a point about. Let me see if I can make this. Okay, so you can watch it better. Senator Rand Paul was trying to make a point about the spending. What does the United States government spend money on? Let's watch. Now we have English audio.
National Science Foundation.
We did more volume.
This kind of goes back to William Proxmire and love and happiness. They wanted to know if you take a selfie of yourself while smiling and you look at it later in the day, will that make you happy? Really? That's $500,000. I don't think we need a scientist to say that that's BS.
$500,000. $500,000 to do some kind of research about if taking selfies makes you happier. At some point I thought that it was making cats take selfies, and that would be interesting. Like training cats to take selfies still would be a lot, or $500,000. But no, they're talking about real people. He only included a cat because, well, maybe he's a cat person. That's nice. But $500,000 for a selfie research.
And the government's got no business doing this kind of research. I don't even know how you can even call this research with a straight face. But it goes on, year on, year on. And you think we've been complaining about this since 1972. You think maybe we'd have less of it. We're giving them more money. So we're now increasing their budget by 68% despite this kind of research.
This is what I told before they take away the cute cat with the selfie. This is what I tell you, that when you need to make a point, you need to bring something physical. This is much more impactful with that huge yellow sign with a cat with a selfie. It draws attention. That's what I tell you. If at some point I need to be in a hearing or something like that, I will bring just this big, huge cardboard stuff just to make a point. That works.
The last one I have is this. We spent $1.3 million on insect ranching. This is money that was sent to study whether or not we could put insects into animal feed. We spent another $3 million, though, wanting to know if humans...
Oh, look at that. It's a little cowboy cockroach. Oh, how cute is this? A little cowboy cockroach. That is creativity. That is driving the point home. In insect ranching, more than $1 million. It's like a Pixar movie. It's like a Pixar movie. That's so cute.
Would eat ants to prevent climate change. What will you do, America, to combat climate change? Will you eat ants to combat climate change? That was a study. This is not science. This is ridiculous in nature. Actually, I lied. I've got one more example. We spent $1.5 million studying lizards on a treadmill.
Lizards on a treadmill. What would be the point? It is nice that every huge cardboard poster has a different color, for variety. It's like he's taking into account the TikTok generation that did constant stimulus for attention. And this is $1.5 million with a tiny, cute lizard that I don't know how did they made sure that the lizards did not run away. Maybe they tied them with tiny leashes, and that's how they kept them in place. Because that lizards, they run everywhere. They run everywhere unless there was a special treadmill or a tiny treadmill for lizards. That reminds me of that scene of Zoolander when he says, "What is this? Is this a museum for ants?" And he crashes the whole thing. I have a mess with this.
So I know you've all been curious. When lizards walk and they kind of waddle and they have a funny walk, why do they walk that way? What's going on in their knee joints? What do their hip joints look like when they waddle across the lawn? Everybody wants to know that. But are you willing to spend $1.5 million of your taxpayer dollars to take x-rays, live, real-time x-rays of a lizard walking on a treadmill?
This is the part that I don't get. Why isn't that privatized? Because why does the government has to do research on this? I mean, he's making a point. Maybe you need to study how lizards, the gait of lizards, so you can adapt that for, I don't know, killer robots, which is something that the Pentagon, I'm sure that they are working on. Or we want to create killer robots in the shape of lizards. That's why we need to do research on how lizards, walk on different fields. That would be a nice application. Killer robots in the shape of lizards. Not very safe, by the way. But I don't know. It's like they do any kind of crazy idea, but at the same time, I couldn't say that I don't support crazy ideas. But we're talking lizards on treadmills. And $1 million? Why do you need? How much does it cost? I don't know. Ask a farmer to catch, I don't know, 100 lizards. That could take a teenage farmer like half a day to catch 100 lizards, and just get 4 or 5 treadmills and a couple cameras to record them in slow motion. That's it. How much could that be? Like $5,000, and that's it. That's it. Okay, you need to pay the scientists for this. But the problem is that this kind of projects in which they get away approving this kind of projects in which something should cost like $50,000, and they say, you know what, you need this higher ceiling just in case they need some more budget, and they approve for $250,000 or something like that. That's something I have been. David O'Leary was talking about that maybe Elon is the one with Dodge that can spot this kind of spending that is so crazy.
I tend to think, maybe Alzheimer's research, maybe cancer research, maybe heart research, but spending good hard cash on x-rays of a lizard on a treadmill do not strike me as the most pressing concerns of government.
Yeah, that sounds like something that Anthony Fauci would do. But worse, he would do. Fauci would put the lizards on the treadmills, but the treadmills would be I don't know, heated or frozen or with spikes, or he would torture the lizards in some way, or maybe he would put recordings of Meghan Markle right in front of the lizards to see if they develop some kind of PTSD, lizard PTSD. That would be one thing. That would be interesting. Maybe they can make some kind of. We're gonna be talking about Meghan Markle today, by the way, but this is a special about morons, and now that climate change is mentioned, we need to talk about Al Gore. I remember that this guy was so. Everybody said, "Oh, he's the most expert of them all in terms of climate, whatever." What was the name of that documentary? The Gore question. I don't remember. I remember that in my naive younger brain, I watched it. Oh wow, how interesting! I remember that. I thought that it was interesting, but in the end, the uncomfortable truth was the Gore question. The uncomfortable truth, I think, it was the name of his documentary. But now he is talking about climate migrants, and I want to know. I really want to know, what is a climate migrant? Well, let's watch the video. Let's watch the video.
We're already seeing the out-migration of climate migrants, and the world could see up to 1 billion climate migrants this century, according
1 billion climate migrants this century. So many words in there.
to the Lancet Commission. And if you think about how bad the...
An inconvenient truth. Thank you, Jordan Gloss. Thank you. It's not trust, but truth. But you remind me, an awkward question. Maybe my brain was trying to dump it in the bin and forget it for good. But yes, we need to talk about this climate grifter still.
Bad the political knock-on consequences of a few million have been in triggering xenophobia and ultra-nationalism. It's difficult to imagine what a billion climate migrants would be.
What is a climate migrant? It's someone who migrates because of climate. I don't know. People were joking about that they call them, those are the New England people who go to Florida sometimes at some times on the year. That was a good joke. But is that these people have this whiteboard in their offices, and they have all this trans agenda, men's in women's sports, and have a climate I don't know, dangerous change, whatever they want to call it, migration, and they begin to combine them in creative ways, because the grift you need to combine them so the grift keeps on grifting. Reinvent yourself. It is we call them snowbirds. No, thank you, Quinn. That is a word. Snowbirds. That is that is the way that people call those, and so much insanity happening. And in terms of insanity, I need to make a full stop on this. John Oliver maniacally defends boys competing against girls in sport. He says Kamala just did a poor job of explaining that boys have no advantage over girls. Serious question. Is he on drugs? Okay, John Oliver talking about transgender rights. For some of you, it's not. Let's watch the clip first. Let's watch the clip first, and then we'll talk about John Oliver.
Ads on that one issue. And it was frustrating to see the Harris campaign fail to formulate a response, especially because it's pretty easy to do. Watch, I'll do it for you right now. As we've discussed before, there are vanishingly few trans girls competing in high schools anywhere. Even if there were more, trans kids, like all kids, vary in athletic ability, and there is no evidence they pose any threat to safety or fairness.
He says that there's no evidence. He said that, all right? And only take a look at his body language. We could watch this without sound, so you can see that the guy has been more and more unhinged. But there are vanishingly few, or very few. He makes sure to use this, so how would I say this? Complicated adverbs to make his point, to drive his point home. Vanishingly few what? Vanishingly few
trans girls competing in high schools anyway.
No, trans girls are boys. Boys. You mean boys, John. You mean boys. And not because there are few of them, it doesn't mean that they can essentially destroy records and destroy all the work that these girls have put into their. You would never understand that. You would never understand that. You're so many things, but you're not worth it. You're not worth it of my harsh words. What is vanishingly something that is like almost invisible? There's so few that they are essentially invisible, that we are making something out of nothing. No, this is a real concern. But you can be a parent of a girl and encourage your girl to practice sports and compete in sports, and all for her dreams to be crushed by because some kind of some boy decided to, I'm going to call myself a girl right now. And not only that, but only that they will have access to your daughter's restrooms and showers and everything. And you're a bigot if you complain. No, you absolutely need to push back on this. This has to be pushed back. And that is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons Democrats lost this time. I'm going to tell you as well. My prediction, at least for the upcoming 2 years, or maybe the following 4 years for the next elections, I'm pretty sure that liberals are not going to learn their lesson from this. They are going to keep their identity politics. They are going to keep their DEI because that makes them feel superior. You know that there are few things that are so enticing, that are so persuasive, that make you feel good, is that to feel superior to other people. At some point, you can enjoy and indulge in that. I have done that in the past. Sometimes, well, you know, when I play video games, you can feel superior if you're competing to other people online. But you can feel superior if you beat them. That is natural. That is a natural thing to feel. There's no problem with that. It's something human. Just don't make something cruel, or don't become cruel, or don't try to mock people over that. But liberals can use these issues to feel like, oh, I'm better than you. I don't have one trans kid. I have 3 trans kids, and that's why you see all these celebrities that have not 1, not 2, but 3 trans kids, and that is statistically impossible. We're talking about an actual mental illness for real, and they are not going to let that go, because if they let that go, it means what else would they have to feel superior if not is the trans agenda or the manufacture racial systemic racism or the DEI. They use all to feel superior. Oh, and one crazy thing is that sometimes one person is white, but they say that being white is bad because they want to feel superior. I am superior because I criticize white people, myself being a white people. That is their reasoning. I don't understand how that works in logic, but they feel superior because of that. Like I spit on myself and my own skin color because we are privileged and all this stuff. And look how good I am. Look how high I am, how better I am because I treat myself and my kin like this. Yeah, that is an actual illness. That is an actual pandemic. And no, that people is not going to let that go that easily. Okay, even I wonder if Kamala Harris essentially ran her campaign on abortion because she literally ran her campaign on reproductive rights, which makes no sense. I wonder what are they going to run their campaign on next time. I mean, they have, so I don't complain. I'm not complaining. You can go all in identity politics, but we know how this works. The puppet masters right now they are licking their wounds, and the moment they stop licking their wounds, they're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna change the cartridge. You're gonna change the narrative for this other narrative, and all they have to do is to flick a switch, and the mainstream media will stop talking about trans kids, will stop talking about abortion, will stop talking about any other thing, because I think that those are the 2 things that they were talking the most about, or systemic racism, and they will double down in just another thing. And the mainstream media will change from one day to the next. And all the NPCs and all the people who get their information from the mainstream media will change their opinion instantly. Okay, this is what you stand for right now, because they need the mainstream media to tell them what do they stand for, which is sad. There's no critical thinking. There's nothing. That's why you got morons like John Oliver doing this kind of things. Let's see which other example though do we have here. Which other example do we have? Okay, we have an example. There's I'm going to jump to this. I added this to today's show at the last minute. Imagine having such incredibly strong opinions about Tulsi Gabbard and not actually having a single clue as to what she said, only knowing that the group you're trying to fit into requires you to have those strong opinions. So this lady, I don't know her name and I couldn't care less. She was claiming that Tulsi Gabbard was some kind of Russian asset. She was saying something about, she even said a word that she even didn't know the exact meaning of the word. I don't know how that works. If you call somebody a word and you don't know the exact meaning of the word, you're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this so you can look for yourself.
Kristen Gillibrand. Oh, monstrous.
Let's see.
Monstrous? Ideas.
Well, when she was 22, she had...
No, she's an Assad toady.
What does that mean?
She is
What's a toady?
I think that I used that word correctly. Jamie, can you check what toady means?
She uses toady, and I don't know, even my captions don't get that, but she is not sure. You see that her body language is also, she's hunched, she is scratching her head with the pen. She has no clue what she's talking about.
Like towing the line, is that what it means?
No, I think it's like a TOADIE.
What does that mean?
What's that? What does it mean?
I think it means what I think it means.
She scratches her head. That's no clue.
Toady, definition of toadies. A person
A
who
sycophant,
flatters or defers to others
I
for
kinda used it right.
self-serving reasons.
A sycophant.
So she's an Assad sycophant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's proof. That's
Yeah, and you see that she brings the pen to her mouth, and not to the corner of her mouth, but the middle of her mouth, and she has that look like, oh, she's a bit clueless. She is quite clueless about this. Oh, she's quite clueless about this. I just got a report, by the way. I just got a report that Donald J. Trump just crossed over the 76 million vote threshold. This is the most votes ever received by a Republican candidate in U.S. history. I'm going to make sure to copy and paste this and show you. It was 6 hours ago. But I'm going to copy because I can do whatever I want by my show. And I'm going to add it here. I'm going to talk about this later. But let's talk about you, lady, unnamed lady that I don't know what's your name. And she's clueless.
known about her.
Like, what did she say that
we have to look.
qualifies her?
You see that people are saying that this is why Kamala Harris would have never survived Joe Rogan. Not because Joe Rogan was going to go all Brett Baier on her. No, it's because Joe Rogan only asks questions. And he's asking, what did she say or what did she do, Tulsi Gabbard, that earned her that term? Like he's genuinely curious. He wants to know. By the way, I was thinking that I have to speed up that, doing interviews and the doing interviews thing. I'm thinking about that. And maybe I could start as soon as next week. So yes, I need to speed run this. I told you to make these shows better. Maybe I would not integrate them into my shows, but I would start interviewing people. That's something that I have to do. Toadie is like a puppet. So she's saying that she's a sad puppet. Thank you, Elsie. Right, so let's continue.
I don't remember the details.
You probably should say that before.
I don't remember the details. I read it somewhere, but where and what did you read? This is a problem.
Before we say that about her, we should probably read it rather.
Well, I have read it.
No, I mean, we should now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just so we know what she said.
Look up
I've had her
Tulsi
on
Gabbard.
here before.
Look
and
up
I really enjoyed talking to her. I like her a lot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I like talking to her.
Okay,
I like
okay.
talking to her. I don't know about.
I think she's like the motherlode of bad ideas.
Whoa.
I think that she's like the motherlode of bad ideas. Okay, nice. Tell me about one idea that you think that was so bad that helped you reach this conclusion. Okay, it's that simple. Well, maybe you have an opinion. I can understand. Maybe you have an opinion, but I just want to know where do you get that opinion from, or how do you reach to that conclusion? That's what I tell you. It's so important when somebody has an opinion that could be a celebrity. A celebrity could say, "Oh, I'm going to vote for Kamala." I respect more people like Quentin Tarantino that say, "I'm going to vote her no matter what. I don't need to explain it." He's been more honest than say, "Oh, that she is such and such." If you put Tarantino and Harrison Ford, and at least Tarantino was honest. I don't care what Kamala says. I'm going to vote for her. Okay, that is the stance. But all the stuff that Harrison Ford said, that is bullshit. That is BS. That is bullshit. That is the problem. That you need. It's simply curiosity to know where their ideas come from.
I'm pretty positive about that, especially on Assad, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong.
Well, my take on her was that I think as a person who's coming from the left, who's also a veteran and is very articulate and sensible and a woman, and in talking to her, we didn't get into Assad or any of those things, but talking to her about what she feels is wrong with the current administration and the way things are running and a direction she thinks things could go in. She had some very promising ideas. I didn't know about this.
But
notice that Rogan is not saying at any point, he's not saying no. He's not saying flat out no to what the lady is saying. He's not denying that. He's trying to give his own perspective. Okay, I have talked to Tulsi, and she feels like I feel that she is like this, and this is the impression that she gave me, and such. He tries to, even in that regard, not be a confrontation. Okay, I like his style. I pretty much that is my style when I interview people. I want to find out. I'm naturally curious, and maybe that would work in my regard. And I would like to interview. That's another thing. I have been unblocking people that I disagree with on X, and even following them right now. The people that I have blocked at some point that I had strong disagreements with them, and I decided to unblock them. And in some cases, some of them follow them just to expose myself to ideas. I think that the greatest level of this game, so to speak, I see this as a game that I'm playing, is to debate ideas, be able to debate ideas, even when the ideas of the other party do not make sense at all. It's something that I want to do. And of course, I have to start somewhere, and I have to start with interviews. So this is little by little.
Also, did she ever apologize for believing in conversion therapy?
I didn't even know she believed in conversion therapy.
Am I crazy?
Yeah, I don't know. The problem is that if you had better, I can understand that you can read things. I read things every day, both in books, on X, and websites, and blogs, and videos, audiobooks. It can be a bit complicated. That's why you need to take notes. Taking notes is really important. You can forget things, but if you're not sure about something, you better have the benefit of the doubt. You either have a strong opinion and know where you get that opinion from, or I have read this about her. And the problem of reading things about people is that most of the time someone else wrote that. I always prefer to go to videos. You know that is what the body language guy does. I go to videos that tell me what people are saying and the actions of people. It's much easier. It's not, you're not reading some essay of someone else, a third party about the person. No, you're watching the person act and talk in a video so you can actually act and form an opinion in regards of what they are doing, their actual actions. So let's go back to that report that we I just mentioned. Donald J. Trump just crossed over the 76 million vote threshold. This is the most votes ever received by a Republican candidate in U.S. history. Impressive. It is impressive. We can, regarding to what we were talking about, the trans trans in sports. Stephen Best has. I wanted to have express this idea, Stephen. You said that much better than me. Only needed one guy to compete at a weight level in boxing to clean up an Olympic gold medal every time. It could be okay. There's only one guy competing in women's sports. What's the matter? The problem is that one guy will disrupt everything. We already saw that at the Olympics. We already saw that at the Olympics. That is the example that Stephen was giving us. Let me see which other topic. I thought that I have a clip about Tulsi. I have a Tulsi clip right here, by the way. And the Tulsi clip is this. This is like a crossover. The clip is Tulsi Gabbard calls out Justin Trudeau as a fool and a hypocrite. That so many of my lovely body language buddies are from Canada, and I think that you might find this interesting. See,
using protests.
So the volume could be higher. I didn't have time to see. Okay, this is
to demand changes to public policy. Is something that I think is worrisome.
Okay. So here we have the Prime Minister of Canada saying that, yes, we have a highly functioning democracy and people's voices, the Canadian people's voices should be heard and they have the right and freedom to protest. However, if those protests are used to demand change in government policy, then no, that shouldn't be allowed. Just in that statement in and of itself, you got to wonder how this guy doesn't see the hypocrisy in his singular phrase.
No, he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it at all. He is so full of himself. It's like I really wish that Canada becomes great again. Canada is a great country, has always been lovely people, but so much going on. Let me see if I have any other a couple topics here. You know, there are a couple topics that I need to talk about. There's a topic that I need to address, which is going to. Okay, let's start with a couple here. I'm not gonna talk about the maybe you saw the fight of the Tyson fight. Maybe I will talk about this later, not right now. But I want to talk about this. We were talking about Canada. I told you that I wanted to cover the UK at some point, and there's some insane things happening in the UK. So many people saying that, well, America dodged a bullet, but they're going to speed run. They're going to do the Venezuela speed run. If Kamala Harris won. But now we have this. Maybe you are aware of this case. Police defend investigation into journalist social media posts. Now, you know, I'm afraid of traveling to the UK as of late because, well, I don't know if I could get. I would be thrown into jail because you know that I have heavily criticized the UK's government. I have heavily criticized Keir Starmer. I have been very vocal against them both, all the government, even the Tories as well. So I don't know. I sometimes say, okay, I might, visit the UK at some point, but I'm generally afraid. That's something that I don't go back to Venezuela, because I know that the moment that I step foot into the country, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to be disappeared. That is the real way of using the word. But I'm really concerned about going to the UK because, well, my ex account would get me, I don't know, 50 years or something like that. Yeah, Facebook police. I would not even think of what would happen if they tied me to the criticism of what is going into the UK. I don't want to test it. In an article, Pearson said that she was told by the police who came to her home it was over a non-crime hate incident. She made a tweet on October 7th last year with the Hamas attack on Israel, and she deleted that tweet. Okay? But the fact is that police arrived to her home over a tweet that she had deleted, and they, one, did not tell her which tweet it was, and two, who was the victim of the crime, because a crime requires a victim, but there was a victimless crime. What is this about? But not told which post it was about. The force said at no stage did its officers tell her the investigation was related to a non-crime hate incident. A non-crime hate incident is where no criminal offense has been committed, but the person reporting it believes the incident to be motivated by hostility. This is insane. This is basically thought police. I'm afraid that at some point, if we have chips implanted in our brains, we can have actual thought police. Like Minority Report, one of my favorite movies, by the way. It's something real. The pre-crime unit, they're gonna throw you in jail before you commit the crime. Well, you know that there's the thing that unrealized gains tax, in which you essentially pay taxes on gains that you have not realized, gains that would happen in the future, gains that have not materialized. So you have essentially to pay money for gains that do not exist, are in the future. So if you can be charged for unrealized gains, there was an example of a Norwegian entrepreneur on X today. What would deter these people from going full pre-crime unit? Let's throw people in jail before the crime happens. So, Alison Pearson, this story so far, I am not a racist. I did not post a racist tweet. My tweet did not incite violence against any protected characteristic. My fairly innocuous tweet was deleted a year ago. Senior lawyers say my tweet does not come near the threshold for criminal prosecution. But Essex police upgraded the accusation from non-crime hate incident to offense under the Public Order Act. Why? Essex police visited my home but refused to specify either the accusation or the accuser. Under pressure, Essex police deployed the terrorist fighting Gold Command to investigate a solitary Welsh journalist of 5 feet 4 inches who still believes in freedom of speech. Weird. I know. This is all nonsense, deeply sinister, frightening nonsense, and wholly disproportionate police overreach if you ask me. Last night, I realized I no longer feel safe in my own country. A terrible moment. Elon Musk said this must stop, and it really must. And we also have this. The Chief Constable B.J. Harrington has defended his forced doorstepping journal, Alison Pearson. And, well, you might remember that according to a 2021 paper, he believes that hate speech is on the same level as rape, child abuse, knife crime, domestic abuse, and PDF file stuff. This is, that's what I tell you. I would get like, I would spend the rest of my life in jail in the UK of everything that I've shared on X. And it's an actual criticism of what is going on in the UK. I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. I don't know how I would have to go with a mustache or something. Over all that I have shared. And this man arrested at 4 a.m. for posting that he dislikes Palestinian flags everywhere. This man posted that. Let's play the video. Let's play the video.
No. And to protect the vulnerable person, by means of building has been imposed that you do not attend any events involved with Palestine, okay? The reasons why we did this is on the 17th of the 10th of 2023, on Bethnal Green Road at 10:04, you were witnesses saying, obviously, people, while they're over here, etc., we let them into our country, etc.
So, big deal.
Yeah, okay.
So, big deal.
It's on the television.
Say that. Take him. Disgusting. You're disgusting. Absolute. I'm a stage 4 cancer patient and I need to here. Make a scene of shoes. Shoes make the scene. You're arresting him because he said something in his mind.
This is just a mess. This is something that it makes my head hurt. How you have an opinion on the internet that I don't like to see certain flags which are not of my country, and the police just arrives at your door at 4 a.m. What the F? I mean, so many things happening in the world. Sadly, I need to go down the rabbit hole of awful things happening in the world, and I need to address one topic that I don't usually address topics as heavy as this, but I need to talk about this. We need to talk about Laken Riley. We took Laken Riley, who was murdered by a Venezuelan illegal immigrant. And yes, I'm going to say Venezuelan. Some people say that, hey, this guy is from your country. Yes, they're very bad people. There are bad people everywhere, but this happened to be Venezuelan, just like me. And yes, for me, this monster must be removed from the face of the earth. As simple as that. This is something that I'm going to describe. I'm going to try to describe what's going on. What's happened that they were playing this video. They were playing the body cam video of the officer who arrived at the crime scene and trying to revive Laken, and they told everybody that whoever wanted to leave the courtroom at that moment could leave, because it was going to be a very strong. It is reported that Laken's mother left the courtroom at that moment, and it was really disturbing. I'm going to mute this. It was really disturbing to see the guy just watching only the description and all that went on, and how he murdered her in the most gruesome way, and especially how she fought for her life, is something that you want to ask yourself. You ask yourself, what do these people have some kind of soul? Because as a Christian, I have to believe that they have won. But what is the punishment in this case? What will be the punishment in this case? It was so horrific what happened, and people are complaining. Oh, people are trying to politicize this. Trump ran his campaign on this, and my question is, who the fuck left or allow this fucker to enter the United States? I don't care where he comes from. Who let this guy into the United States? And don't get me started that, oh no, the Venezuelans are the same. No, not all immigrants are the same. And that's true, because people have, both arguments. Oh no, you cannot say that all immigrants are criminals. At no point I have said that all immigrants or all illegal immigrants are criminals, although we already saw that video with Tom Homan the other day, in which he put AOC on her place, telling her, just the fact that you enter the country illegally, that is a crime. You should go to the port of entry. So essentially, the law states that every single illegal immigrant is a criminal. It all depends on what kind of crime do you want. You want to add more crimes to that? You want to add theft to that crime, to the crime to enter in illegally? You want to add murder? You want to add rape? Well, so be it. But you have a whole menu, but you should be punished to the full extent of the law and then some. You have to make sure that you have punishment that is so severe that you will dissuade anybody from doing the same. That is the idea. And you have all this liberal, I don't know what to say. They are also monsters, NPCs. They endorse these people coming into the United States, giving them a chance, giving them money, giving them a mobile phone, giving them shelter, giving them everything. For the sake of what? For the sake of what? What does any country have to win from this? Oh, immigration is important because Tom Homan's words are the best. Go to the port of entry. You want to come into the United States, you want to come into the UK, you want to come into France, go to the port of entry and, well, present your visa. Oh, that is interesting. Did you have to present a visa to enter? How do you get a visa before entering the country? You go to the embassy of the country in your home country and request a process in which the ways that you have to enter the country. Oh, you know what is one of the requirements that they ask you? One of the most important requirements, if you have criminal records. If you have criminal records, you will not get granted a visa no matter what you do. It's that simple. It's that simple. So my question is, if these people are so retarded in so many ways, the people who want to not enforce these laws, to the people who enter the country legally with a visa, you make sure that they don't have criminal records. To the people who enter illegally, you not only let them enter the country, but I really don't understand how that works. The asylum laws, all that I find retarded. I'm going to tell you what happens here. We Latinos, and I have to say we. I am a Latino. I'm Venezuelan, and I've told you that in Venezuela we have viveza criolla. Viveza criolla is something like if we can take advantage of something, we will. It is a thing. It's something that is ingrained in our system. We were born with that, as we were born with eyes at the back of our heads and all that stuff. Some of us, we want to live in high trust society. I despise having any kind of links to the viveza criolla, a ser vivo. You know that that is being able to cheat without getting caught. That is, if in Venezuela, I have to be clear about this. And some of you, I know that many Venezuelans are watching my show, and you might get angry, but you cannot deny that this is something that so many Venezuelans they live like this. The more you cheat and the more you get away with, the more respected you will be. It is I could never. That's why I love Japan. I thought that a code of honor. That's why I love the United States up until, well, some time ago when it was a high trust society. It is not a high trust society anymore. And this is what happens when you let some of these animals inside your country, because these are not human. These are subhumans. These are monsters, and they have to be treated as such. And they should be used to give an example. Public drawn and quartering, slow boiling. I don't care. Do something. Do something to send a message. Do something to send a message. You have so many countries, like Singapore, for example, that they can be really, really harsh on certain crimes. And you could get creative as well. No, but you have to be humane. You have to give people a chance and all that stuff. You should give your citizens a chance. You should give people that are your citizens a chance. And there's all this mess about people who were born in the United States. For example, a baby is born in the United States and it's automatically a citizen of the United States. That is complicated in terms of law, because I think that international law is that is a thing, right? I don't know how the United States could, or Donald Trump could, bypass or take that back from the Constitution. I think this is the Constitution. But so many people try to game the system. And so many Americans, and especially left-leaning Americans or liberal Americans, don't understand the kind of people you're dealing with. I know the kind of people you're dealing with. And that's why I tell you, if you let the Tren de Aragua invade your cities, and some of you have told me, they will be no match for Chicago gangs. Okay, they will be no match for Chicago gangs, for example, say something. Chicago gangs will eat them alive. I will tell you, the Venezuelan gangs have absolutely nothing to lose. I would bet, if this was a bet, I would bet good money on the Venezuelan gangs and invading every single, and recruiting. If the Venezuelan gangs is not going to be only comprised of Venezuelan people, sooner than later they're going to recruit locals. Maybe some gang members of those Chicago gangs, for example. Just I have no information. I don't know if the Tren de Aragua is in Chicago, but somebody said that the Chicago gangs are going to scare them away. I will still bet on the Venezuelan gangs. I would still bet on the Venezuelan gangs, and I was so upset by this. I don't think the law is harsh enough in any country, and I don't care where you come from. That is something that I should be very clear. It's not that he is Venezuelan. He could be Peruvian. He could be American. He could be, I don't care. But in this case, if he's American, he's inside the country. All right, that's one thing. But it's absurd that you let people in your country and you give all these resources. I would say this over and over again. It's the most absurd thing to let illegals into your country, and you catch them at the border. You check whatever they say it's their name, because they destroy. It's like in Europe, before they arrive into European countries, they destroy their passports so they cannot be identified. They can just start anew with a made-up name, with a made-up, completely fresh ID number with the country that receives them. That is insane. Why don't you take them back? Okay, in this case, in the case of Europe, you have a problem that they usually arrive by boat. How do you take them back? Because they most surely will drown in the ocean. That would be a big fuck up, an international fuck up if you do that. That is one thing. But this is the southern border in the United States. They're not gonna drown. It's Mexico. You just make them Mexico's problem. It's that simple. You don't let them into the United States. Why would you do that? That is retarded. There's no other way. There's no other way to call that. That is the most retarded take and approach to the immigration question. You leave them in Mexico. Why? Because then they are Mexico's problem. And then Mexico will realize, oh, the U.S. is doing this for real. So we have all these migrants in our soil causing all this trouble. Yeah, they are Mexico's problem now. Then Mexico will make sure to not let them enter the country on their southern border in the first place. But something's got to give. Something has to give. You have to stop them. But again, as I'm telling you over and over again, this is not simply a question that this is retarded or not. This is a matter that governments do this on purpose to cause chaos. Chaos to control you. A population in chaos, with crime, with all this, with what's going on in the UK, lives in fear, lives in anxiety. What can you do? Where are you going to go? That is your country. I am a nomad right now. I don't have any country that I call mine. I'm Venezuelan, but I cannot enter my country. That is quite a dilemma. Right now, I'm resigned to just be like pretty much homeless in terms of a country, but it is it has advantages in many ways. But you feel that sense that you would like to rest your head and say that, okay, this is a country that I can rest my head and I can, have roots in here. Maybe something that you want. I have to keep mobile right now. But if you are an U.S. citizen and you have lived in your state, in your county, in your city all your life, or maybe you like the city you live in, maybe you moved from other cities and you like the city you live in, and you all of a sudden have this kind of trouble, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? How are you going to fight this? This is something that we could be talking for hours, something that really concerns me. And that's why, in the case of the United States, that's why it's rather easy when we talk about presidential elections, because it's just, in this case, two candidates. That is rather easy. It's not that easy, when we talk about the Senate or the House of Representatives, because we have to go one by one and discover if they actually have the interests of the American citizens at heart. It's something that we should be digging deep into this. I'm willing to dig deep into this. I'm I told you that I'm here to stay, and in many ways we should be making this a bit more lighthearted. This show has become a bit heavy. I want to talk about. Let me see. Let's talk about something about the presidential campaign, and I wanted to mention again. Oprah finally explains the controversial 1 million Kamala Harris fee, because we were talking about money. We were talking about the presidential elections. So we still have to talk about Kamala. By the way, where is Kamala? I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her since she did her concession speech. Then the reports say that maybe she, I don't know if I have this. These are some rumors that have sparked. Joe Biden has reportedly asked Kamala Harris to take a step back from her role as vice president and cut back on public appearances during his lame duck period, as he tries to put a positive spin on his legacy by ensuring a smooth transition to President-elect Trump. Biden believes Kamala's historic defeat and bitterness over her loss are potentially damaging to his legacy. No one wants to be around Kamala, not even her boss. The joy is gone. That's why we haven't seen Kamala in a while, from that picture with her nieces and that. But then that $1 million, what happened to that $1 million with Oprah? When first publicly confronted by TMZ with the news on Monday, Winfrey appeared to give a denial. Not true, she said, when a cameraman asked her about the payment. I was paid nothing, ever. I told you that it might be that the setup, that you remember this event? Maybe that's what cost $1 million. $1 million. Usually I am reluctant to respond to rumors in general. This was later. But these days I realized that if you don't stop a lie, it just gets bigger, she wrote. Winfrey said her production team billed the $1 million fee to the Harris campaign to host the Michigan event on her behalf. My production company Harpo was asked to bring in set design, lights, cameras, microphones, crew, producers, and every other item necessary, including the benches and chairs we sat on to put on a live production. So this that you're watching, that you're seeing right now, this cost $1 million. Like that was, why didn't Oprah just pay that out of her pocket? Why so cheap? Why so cheap, Oprah? Why you were like that? Weren't you? These people are so fake. And seeing that there's no actual, will to stand by something, if not it's through money. And they want to make up all these troubles that people have, all these issues that people have, and all the reproductive rights things. I have a couple of things here. I'm not going to go. I'm going to delve into this topic. I have another one to mention here. This is quite complicated. I'm going to mention this one. Senate leader. Now we're talking about the Senate. Senate leader John Thune said today that there are not enough votes to pass a recess. That's a problem, which would have allowed Trump's appointments to take their post without a hearing. So Gates, the others, will have to go in front of committees and be grilled. We have this, but we also have some kind of different opinions about that. We also had this tip from Josh FL. He only needs Mike Johnson to agree to recess the House. Then POTUS Biden can use his Article 2 power to recess the Senate along with the House. Senators know this. They are making him do it to make him look like bad. Let's see what happens. Maybe Biden will use his Article 2 power to force the Senate into a recess. I really don't know how that works. I'm just finding out this. I told you that I'm learning this on the fly. I've checked that. Maybe Biden can do it. It would be would be crazy if he does that, by the way. It would be crazy if he does that. And we need to talk about, we have this special about morons. We will end with Meghan in a while. You know that speaking like about Meghan is so easy. But we need to talk about this. Biting back, the View's co-host Whoopi Goldberg says that a local bakery refused to serve her a birthday dessert because of her liberal political views, but the owner has a different story. Let's see this video. It's muted. A second.
You do not mess with Staten Island. That's right.
Amen. The place that made these refused to make them for me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What? Oh,
no.
It's some of this. Who is this? Is Pete the cake that they were eating? Oh, because whoever did the cake, they refused to do it. This is such a circus.
No. Let me explain. They said that their ovens had gone down, all kinds of stuff, but folks went and got them anyway, which is why I'm not telling you who made them. But it's can't be because I'm a woman, but perhaps they did not like my politics. Yeah.
Perhaps, they said that she's making things up. She's just saying this, to pass as a victim. This is this channel. I told you that my channel could be at some point the common sense guy, but my channel could be as well the victim spotting guy, because we spot victims or self-made victims all the time. The self-made victim spotting guy, not that musical, but could work.
People who defamed the Halterman family should apologize to the Halterman family for making stuff up to suit their needs.
We're here today to have Halterman Bakeries back, because the Halterman family generationally has had the backs of this community.
Not everybody wakes up every day and thinks about politics.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, this is another thing, that when you make this kind of accusations, you will unintentionally, but you know that you're gonna do it. You're gonna rally a lot of crazy people against that business, okay? And that business is not going to get only boycott, that people are not going to buy their cakes. No, they're going to be physically attacked, have death threats, everything. So it is something that you have to be very careful with. And yeah, that Whoopi, she's not careful in the least, and no, she does it out of spite and malice.
Glad that we see all the cars here, all the people coming in and out of the store today, to send a message to the person who decided that she was too important for a boiler breakdown, that she had to have her pastries, and if it wasn't coming to her, it must have been someone else's fault. It must have been a directed insult to her.
We had phone calls yesterday from Alabama. Guy says, I'm going to give you $50, send it to a school, send them donuts, send them cupcakes. The support has been so overwhelming, and I know how hard my family has worked to keep this business alive.
That is a good thing. At the same time, that the business will get also support with people from people who want to see the business thrive. But this is the issue. Let me see what do we have here. Yeah, the New York City politics demand Whoopi Goldberg apologize for false Staten Island bakery slam and stores flooded with orders. That was great as well. We stand with Halterman's Bakery, a 146-year-old Staten Island staple. Oh my God, it's like almost 150 years. And shame on Whoopi Goldberg for disparaging this small business. And we also have this. Judge Giannine just now says the bakery Whoopi Goldberg claimed denied her service because of her politics can sue her for defamation. I hope that they do. I hope that they do.
By
Let's
the
watch this.
name of the bakery explicitly. If you Google Charlotte Russe, there is only one bakery in New York that carries this particular cupcake. And they wanted to pre-order it. She called. She said, it wasn't my gender, it was my politics. How the hell do you know that? They can prove that the oven wasn't working. But the next day it was working, so they were able to sell the cupcakes. So it was a false statement. It was made publicly, and they can sue for damages because it was a lie. It was defamatory. They were subject to contempt.
I hope that they sue. I hope that they sue. Oh, this is what these people have this platform. These people have these platforms, and they feel like they are untouchable, that they are invincible in so many ways. Let me wait a second. I fix something in here. Fix something in here, and we go. I think I can get my. Sometimes my headphones get in the way. Much better. Can be quite hot. Let's talk. Some of you have come here to talk about. Some of you have come here to talk about the Duchess. You know which Duchess we're talking about. The Duchess appeared again, and she has a night out in Venice to celebrate her new hair care line, Highbrow Hippie. She was supporting a friend, and we still have that fallout from all the reports that she has no friends, and moreover that she's a bully, and she hasn't been able to shake that out of her image. Meghan Markle steps out to celebrate new hair care line, Highbrow Hippie. I'm so proud to invest in her as a friend and as a female founder, the Duchess of Sausages said. Yeah, she had to stress that she is a female founder, because I guess that way the money has a different effect on the business. I don't know. What do I know? I am not a woman, so how can I have an opinion on that, right? But we see some things in here, like Princess Carparkle pointed out on X. The two products sold by Highbrow Hippie, a hair oil and supplement which is not FDA, USP, NSF approved or verified. They have Meghan Markle promoting their hair color, and Bragg she did her own hair at Invictus, not a flex. And yes, I was looking at the 2-pack. The two products are more than $200. That is not cheap. Not cheap in the least. And just in case, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, for adult use only. Keep out of reach of children. Consult your physician, blah, blah, blah. Those taking blood thinners who are pregnant, looking to conceive, or breastfeeding. Oh my God, this is the kind of things that you better be wary of this. Meghan Markle is continuing to uplift female founders. This is something that she needs. She desperately needs this. That's why I have been covering her less and less on the Royal Road, because I just take a peek of what she's doing, and it hasn't changed like in 2 months. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. I generally, if she does something different, I would have no problem in covering that. But it's just the same to try to present herself as, caring. What's the word that she was using? It's like compassion in action, all that. The Duchess of Sausages invested in Highbrow Hippie, a new hair care line by her longtime hair colorist and friend, Katie Lee. Katie has a mastery of hair health, and her Highbrow Hippie collection is a perfect reflection of that, she told In Style. The thing is, that one of the things that we were talking about, or some of you were talking about, was the body language. And why was Meghan like this? Was you know that Meghan becomes that try hard again? Oh, look my friend, how I love her, how I cling to her. I mean, there's so many ways to support a friend. Investing in her business, that is great. I wish Katie all the success. I'm only afraid that Meghan's bad juju is a real thing. It's not something that I invented. I did not make that up. How many people, how many businesses have been Markle? We have lost count. There are people that have, they're making the counts. I'm not keeping that count, by the way. But you see this and how Meghan makes sure to eye fuck the camera, like just eye shag the camera. Maybe there's some more polite way to say that. Yeah, you know that she does it in a way that is so unsettling that the mandatory zoom in. And well, with her friends, you know that there's this it's so comical. I mean, at some point I said maybe somebody created some kind of AI Meghan. This couldn't be her. Like she's posing in a way like this is my angle. This is the better my better angle. Look at me. To seduce the camera, as CW is saying. She's trying to do that. Oh yes, and let me do another angle and that smile. Meghan, you were an actress. You are not an actress anymore. But you still, I know that you can have smiles more natural than this. You're trying a bit too hard. But what do I know? What do I know? Let me see which other picture do we have here. Well, in this case, they were looking at the camera and Meghan was looking at the other camera. But again, it's the same. And this I did not understand. I did not understand this expression. Maybe Katie was overwhelmed by emotion. That's something that can happen. I'm not joking with that. She was overwhelmed by emotion. But reading your comments right now. It's like, make sure that you take a picture of me kissing my friend so people can see that I have friends. That is important. I have friends, at least one. I invested in her business. That is great. And I love her so much, and I'm going to kiss her in front of the cameras, make sure that the flashes are firing at the right time. And yes, it's so awkward. It's so awkward in so many ways. We have videos here. I don't know if I could play the videos. And Meghan was dancing and having a good time. And why are we watching this? Why are we seeing this? You say, Jesus, because you are showing this to us. And I sometimes forget, oh yeah, Meghan used to do this kind of things to attract attention. But at some point I said, I want to do things more interesting than this. I want to go the extra mile. At least if there are still people that doing nice memes about Meghan, like IH12 on X. Meg's seeing eye, probably with a built-in microphone. Meghan's beautiful Logan Hallowell necklace engraved with Archie and Lily's names. And yes, this looked like an Illuminati thing. And Ice-T Anders was saying that it looks like the eye of Sauron. Yes, it's like I have no it can be fun. We had a good run with the Harkles. For 2 years. For 2 years we had a good run, but I told you that star power was going to fade little by little, and they were going to just fade into obscurity. But some things refuse to die. Thanks to Royally Sage for posting this about Harry. Harry is still with his legal troubles. I would like to understand what drives a man that can have anything that he wants as long as he keeps making money. It's something that he has to do. So much emotional manipulation in a few paragraphs. The Harkles are not worth all this stress, which is why, despite their annual puff pieces, they are not invited as no one wants them around or trusts them. That is another reason why I haven't made any more Royal Rogue episodes, or at least that frequent, because that was a part of the entertainment. It was part of the entertainment. I would say that making fun of them, I didn't make fun of them. They make fun of themselves. They do that. I just report on what they do, like American Riviera Hortard. You remember that, right? You still remember that? I don't know how many followers does Arrow brand have on Instagram now? I think they had lost like 20,000, something like that, since they released. It's been 5 years since Harry spent Christmas with his family. He can't help but feel sad about that on a personal level. It would have been useful not to destroy the bridges with your family and not to, point all your fingers at your family throughout all these years. On a personal level, the memories of his family Christmases are very nostalgic for him. Tough luck. And he's quietly optimistic that this year he's going to get an invite. Not gonna happen. If this does indeed happen, I'm gonna read this in Harry's voice. If this does indeed happen, it's going to put him in a very difficult situation, because it's going to be a hard one for him to turn down, especially if he wants to keep walking towards a peace deal with his family. What a bunch of hogwash. It's an impossible situation, as he wouldn't want to leave Meghan and the kids. He leaves Meghan and the kids all the time. I'm not gonna keep reading this. I'm not going to keep reading this. What year is this? Is this 2021 all over again? Yeah. For how long have we been doing this? Again, not complaining. Literally thousands of memes. If I made 600 episodes, so many live streams, and we had at least 3 memes per episode, that was thousands of memes. So Harry's letting the court read emails he sent to his brother. William will love that. Prince Harry tries to drag late Queen's most senior courtier into phone hacking court battle in move that threatens to widen his rift with William, as hearing is read email Duke sent to his brother. Why? Prince Harry requests access to Buckingham Palace emails in newspaper court case. I cannot do this anymore. I don't know how to go. I try. I have really tried. Even my sources. I have so many sources. You remember all the stuff. By the way, we are months away. The end of the Netflix contract. And where's the Polo documentary? Was the Polo documentary released? I don't even know. I'm sure that if the Polo documentary was released, I would have found out about that. But the Polo documentary is nowhere to be seen. And of course, there was never any show of a cooking show with Meghan. There's no cooking show with Meghan. I said that on the Royal Rogue. I had no more news. How can I have news, inside tips, if they are doing nothing? I am not making up things. Whatever I had is because I had sources that told me what was going on behind closed doors. But if nothing is happening, what can I do? That's why it was becoming so hard to make the Royal Rogue videos. The Duke of Sussex has requested access to a cache of Buckingham Palace emails he claims would be highly relevant to his case against the publisher of The Sun. Something that you knew that before all this U.S. politics phase of my channel and changing the topics of my channel, I was already making fresh content on back then the Battle Language Guy channel because the writing was on the wall. These people had spent all the rest of their star power on nothing. Meghan was upset. She didn't want anything to do with the cooking show. I exposed that reality in the Royal Rogue. I will be more than willing to watch her cooking show if she agrees to do that, which is not happening. What do we have now? I already had pivoted from that. I like to make memes about everything. Sometimes we have to cover some topics that can be a bit heavier, and right now, well, that's why I'm focusing on my Jesus Enrique Rosas channel. But again, I have no problem to cover any other content from the articles if they do something for a change. And no more legal battle dramas, Harry. It's the same from 2 years ago. It's like Jenny says, I wanted to see her posing in more car parks. Not even Backgrid have caught her in her car parks photo shoots. Not even Carl Larson. Remember Carl Larson? I think that the check wasn't clear. The check wasn't clear, so Carl hasn't taken any more pictures of Meghan. But this is what we have of the articles. And again, I can invite them I could get an interview with Meghan. Can you imagine that? Let's interview Meghan for the Jesus Enrique Rosas channel, since nobody wants anything to do with them. I would be willing to interview her for my channel. Why not? Let's interview Meghan. What are your plans? And that's it. She stands up and turns off the camera. That was it. For 5 seconds. Shortest interview in history. What are your plans, Meghan? That's it. 5 seconds. No answer. Well, looking at your comments, it has been so delightful this evening. But it's time to say goodbye. And again, I'm thinking of doing interviews. I want to work on my standalone videos as well. Lives are just amazing. This has been just really fun to make. But of course, I want to maybe delve deep in some topics. And that is coming next week as well. Most probably we will have tomorrow another longish live stream. 2 hours is nice. 2 hours is nice. You like the 2-hour format? It should be 1 hour over the weekdays and much more focused. But again, this is today was episode what? 20, 21? I lost count now. But the idea is to have this connection every day, and especially, most important, to have fun, smile, and laugh a little, because we need to laugh in these days. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And until we meet tomorrow, perhaps, remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. Be safe. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.